Hello.
Hi.
You alright?
Yeah, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah, really good. Uh,
Good.
yeah. So what time is it? What time is it where you are now?
It is noon, 12:02 here. So yeah, 7 hours. 7 hours behind you guys.
So how have you found the last 9 months with coronavirus and that that situation?
Yeah, no, it's been a struggle at first. I kind of saw because my original knee injury was September of 2019. So I kind of saw it as a bit of a blessing in disguise because I got to come home anyways and the season was cut short. So it kind of felt like, oh, it didn't matter that I was injured. So in a way, it was kind of like I found a really good silver lining. But after the fact, with rehab and stuff, it was difficult and having to do everything in a mask and gyms being shut. So how I really wanted to attack rehab was affected. But other than that, I was lucky to be able to come home. My family was able to be together. I haven't seen my sister, and I was just talking to her actually before. We haven't seen each other. She left Utah a year ago today, and I haven't seen her since. And my sister and I are super close. So it's weird to not have seen her, but I know so many people have been affected in that way. So that was kind of the biggest one for me, is not having been able to see her.
So what are the restrictions like at the moment where you are?
I think just masks, but as far as I'm concerned, you can go everywhere. Like, I haven't really looked into it in Utah, to be completely honest, because I'm not going anywhere anyways. But I know in my physical therapy office, it's just a requirement to have everyone socially distanced.
Hmm.
So that's the only thing I've really noticed, to be honest. But gyms are allowed to go. Like the AAU team that I coach, kids are allowed in the gym and they're playing games and everything. So from what I understand, it's not as lax as it's probably too lax. So, but it
Yeah,
is good old America. So,
very different to the way we are at the minute, I guess.
yeah, and the Netherlands just went into another lockdown as
Hmm.
well, where my school is. So, it's a crazy time.
So you mentioned Utah a few times. Is that where you were born?
Yes, yeah, born and raised here. But I left in 2014. End of 2014 is when I started at Northumbria. So I was a fresh little 18-year-old experiencing Newcastle for the first time.
So how did that move come about to Northumbria? At 18, obviously. How
Yeah.
Northumbria?
So my dad is from the south of England. He is from Portsmouth originally. And he moved to the US when he was, 17, 18. And he's been here ever since. So kind of knowing that I had the option to do it, I'm actually a dual citizen, which helps Chris out. I don't take up a US slot. So I just kind of, the opportunity presented itself and I kind of said, why not? I mean, wasn't something I'd really looked into, but I didn't even apply to a single college in the US. I said, I'm going to England and this is what I'm doing. And, my parents were awesome about it. They weren't, they just said, get out, like, go see the world, go do it,
Hmm.
go live your life. And I really appreciate them for, presenting the opportunity to me and saying, this is something you should attack. So that's what I did. And I went and saw Sheffield, Durham, and Newcastle, and I also applied to Nottingham, but we didn't make it out there to visit. But I really did fall in love with Newcastle. But actually, Chris wasn't the coach when I came to visit. It was Josh Merrington at the time when I first came out to visit. And then the first year I was there during that summer transition is when Chris came in as head coach.
Right.
Yeah.
Um, so what did you study when you were at Northumbria? What were you studying?
I did 1 year, a foundation year in engineering, because I was actually a year behind in math. So I did the foundation year, decided I didn't want to do anything on the foundation year. So me and a couple others begged our way on to foundation or civil engineering off the foundation engineering year. I initially wanted to do mechanical engineering, but I switched after that foundation year, understanding that was not exactly what I wanted to do.
Hmm.
So I spent 3 years and I got a bachelor's in civil engineering.
Let's rewind a little bit then. When did you start playing basketball? When did basketball come into your life?
Oh man, fifth grade. So I was maybe, I think, 8 or 9 at the time. Yeah, I've always I've been involved in a lot of sports over the years, but I officially like committed to basketball the summer between my freshman and sophomore year of high school. But I've been playing just like I started at junior jazz, so that was the team here. My friend's mom was the coach, but I was in fifth grade when I first started.
So was that your friend's mom? Was she the link to basketball? Like, how did you get into it?
Yeah, I think honestly it was junior jazz that got me started. And then my math teacher in eighth grade was the high school basketball coach. So he kind of started grooming me in middle school. He saw, me play, and he just kind of was always talking me through that, invited me to a couple of practices. So I kind of knew like, okay, high school is when basketball really gets serious. And I played 3 sports my freshman year, but once I kind of realized if I wanted to be competitive at this, I needed to pick up and actually commit to it. And I started playing AAU basketball the summer in between my freshman and sophomore year. And that's when it like really kicked in how much I could put into the sport. Like once I met my AAU coach, his name is Alex Austin. And I mean, I was going to workouts before class, so I'd wake up really early in the morning, go to a workout, shower, go to school. And I went to a really demanding academic school, so I needed to just pick one sport, and I threw myself into it, and I've never looked back. I love it.
What the other 2 sports that you played?
My freshman year, I played volleyball and softball, and then I also rode horses competitively, but I continued doing that through the rest of my high school years as well.
Yeah, I noticed on your story the other day there was a horse, and
Yeah,
what was the horse called?
his name is Flame, and
Flame.
he loves to show off for the camera and snort and do his thing.
So let's fast forward again to your time at Northumbria.
Mhm.
So you said Josh Merrington was the coach when you first got there,
Mhm.
and then obviously Chris came in. What was the kind of difference between those 2 coaches then?
Yeah, so I think it was a little daunting because it was the summertime that transition happened. So when I came out to visit, I visited with Josh and had a team practice with Josh and everything. And then when I actually got there for school and for basketball to start, it was with Chris. So Chris hadn't actually met me. So it was a little frustrating in the moment because it was like, oh, now I've got to start a new situation and a new relationship over. But Chris was great. I mean, he took me and my dad out to Nando's. He got me my first Nando's, as he does. So that was, a good introduction. And Chris was great those first couple years. I mean, it was coming in at that level, like, although because I was a fresh 18-year-old, I didn't have that college experience yet. So this was my first college experience, and being alongside people like Tiani at the time and people who'd played at a really high level, and Chantel Hardy being at some of those, like having her be such a monumental athlete. And here's little me, like a little shell shocked in the moment, but getting thrown in the deep end like that, I think benefited me in the long run because it just made you automatically step up. And I think Chris does that with young players. We've got Yem who comes up who's 15 getting to practice with these, high level girls as well. And I think when you have that opportunity, especially as a young athlete, like it makes a huge difference to even just see, the way they prepare for practice, and seeing everyone else's habits, like that changes so much your own outlook on yourself. So I think that was a big benefit coming in that young.
Every story I hear about Chris is about food.
Yeah.
Every
Somehow that doesn't
Nando's,
surprise me.
Domino's, KFC, every person you talk to, it's about food.
Yeah, and you can't see him without a coffee being involved. So
how would you describe Chris as a coach? Like what's he like to kind of play under?
yeah, Chris is very personable, and I think that that's the helpful part. Like you are his friend at the same time, and sometimes it makes it hard for him to be as tough as he can be, and sometimes you're a little like, whoa, Chris, like because you're his friend, but all in the same moment he's your coach as well. And yeah, I mean, I think over the years I've become such a good, our relationship has grown. So sometimes it's kind of like Chris is just my friend more than a coach than anything. Like, and that's kind of, it's a different boundary, but I appreciate it now because dealing with the injury and everything, he's been great through it. And when I first got hurt, and I kind of decided I wanted to continue playing, I called him, and he welcomed me back and talked about, the growth the program has made over the last couple of years, and seeing it this year, seeing the players that he's brought in as far as recruiting goes. I think he's grown a lot as a coach over the last couple of years. And I know, our level of communication has improved, so that's helped a lot in understanding my role on the team and what he wants from me. So I think it's been great playing under him again, and granted it was short-lived, but I'm curious to see how that unfolds.
When you were at Northumbria originally, Alison Grell was there at the same time, wasn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, what was it like, kind of being with her again, and what's she like as a player?
Yeah, I mean, Allie's a great athlete. She is really just an athlete through and through. She gives herself to the game full force. And playing with her those first couple of years, it was her kind of first experience overseas as well. So it was nice to have another American on the team. And she's from Colorado, which is just the neighboring state to me. So we kind of had a lot of similarities being from snowy states, some high altitude states, and that kind of Midwestern. But no, it was great playing with her those first couple of years and seeing her go on and play in Germany and have a successful couple of years after that, and have Sheffield as well. But I mean, she's honestly just a full steam ahead athlete, and she understands the game so well. And I think seeing her growth, having her come in this year and seeing her growth and has been really awesome to see. I mean, she's just, yeah, I mean, I can't say enough good things about Allie. Just as a basketball player, she is fantastic.
So after Northumbria, did you go to Holland?
Yes, yeah. I spent 2 years there. Well, probably more like a year and a half, I guess. But I graduated July of 2018 from Northumbria, and then I was out in Holland August of that same year, August 2018. I went to Delft University of Technology, and I'm getting my master's in construction management and engineering. I'm still working on that.
Did you play basketball when you were out in Holland as well, or is that?
Yeah, I played in the promotion division. So that's the league below their pro level. The first year I played for Lokomotiv, which is in Rijsbeek near where I was staying. And then the second year I played for Das Delft, which was the promotion team in the same city as my university. But I think I got one game in before I hurt my knee. So.
Yeah. So when did you kind of make the decision to get in touch with Chris to see if there was any possibilities of kind of playing again?
Yeah, it was, I think probably, I hadn't gone, it would have been kind of end of October of 2019. I texted him actually. I sent him this whole long text, and then about 15 minutes later, my phone rang. I was like, oh crap, I wasn't prepared for a phone call. I had to take a deep breath, and I was like, what am I going to say? And Chris was just really happy to hear from me. And it was really, that was a moment that I kind of affirmed my own role on the team. It was a confidence boosting moment for me to hear a coach say, obviously I'll have you back. It helped my confidence to know that like I left a positive impact on a team, and that I could come back and maintain that same presence for myself and have a role. That was really a positive moment for me, and I've appreciated Chris a lot for bigging me up as the type of basketball player that I am, because I'm not necessarily going to be a huge impact scorer, or I'm not necessarily big stats, but I know I can give 110%, and I'm one of those I'm a pest, and that's what I like to bring, and as well, like positivity. I'm the loudest. Well, with Ruth on the team now, it's definitely a bit of a competition. Ruth may outdo me a bit on the loud front, but I really enjoy being the loudest person in the room, and I'm never going to shut up. So that's kind of something that Chris appreciated, and I was happy that he welcomed that back.
I get the impression Abby's quite a character in the dressing room.
Yeah. Yeah. Abby is her own level of character, though. That will never be touched. I don't think there's any competition in that regard.
So let's talk about the injuries that you've had then. So you said obviously there was a first knee injury. How did that happen?
Yeah, I was in practice, and we were just at the beginning of a drill, and we were doing a one-on-one sequence before we moved into our offense, and I took 2 dribbles to the middle. I was at about the free throw line, and I went to spin back to the basket, and my foot stayed planted and I just fell backwards and twisted. So my ACL, my MCL, and my medial meniscus were torn. And then it took, the way that the health systems worked and me actually managing to get an MRI took a long time. So I didn't actually confirm the full injury until probably mid-October. And by then I'd found out that I got into a business tour program, an international business tour through my school to go to Dubai. So when I talked to the surgeon and I said, you know, I'm going to Dubai in November, and he kind of said, I think the best route here is just go to Dubai and go home. Like, you need your mom. This isn't a surgery that you can do by yourself. Like, this is a really brutal surgery. And one of my friends, a fellow Team Northumbria alum, Chloe Bully, she currently plays in Germany. She was going through the same knee injury at the time. And she said, no, you need to go home. This isn't something you can do by yourself. So I went to Dubai in early November of last year. And then right as I got back from Dubai and Amsterdam, I turned around and flew home the next day. And I had surgery on November 22nd of 2019. And that was an ACL repair with my patella tendon graft, and my meniscus was repaired. And then this go round, I was honestly doing great. My knee felt fantastic. I was so happy, and I was in an environment with Chris that he wasn't pushing me. You know, he said, I obviously trust you to tell me how much you can do, and he didn't think that I would kind of take advantage of the situation to sit out of things unnecessarily. So he trusted me with that, which I appreciated. And it was just kind of a freak thing that happened in practice. I took just kind of a body to the knee, and I felt it pop, but I wasn't scared because it's a new knee, and you're going to experience things with new knees, you know, new pops, new twists and turns, you know, stepping over things, stairs, gutters, all those things are new for this knee. So I was expecting to feel things being back in the mix of basketball, but I was really sore the next day. So I ended up going to the doctor, and finally an MRI confirmed that my ACL had basically just stretched out. So I'd been hit and it just kind of went like this and never returned to full strength. So I had a full intact ACL. There was no tear this time, but it was just stretched out to the point that it wasn't effective. And in good, I could have played, but it was kind of a ticking time bomb of when it was going to blow fully, and it just needed to be fixed. So that was on October 26th of this year.
So what's the kind of physio like for that? Is it regular? Is it what's
Yeah,
it?
I'm going 3 times a week currently. So I just had it yesterday, and it's pretty relaxed this time. We kind of had a discussion with my surgeon, and he said, this can't be a knee that you take and you go full steam ahead with. This is a knee that you need to take, and you just need to let it heal for a period of time, because he's not convinced how well I healed the first time. Because he noticed that is why I have a 50-50 mix of my tissue and donor tissue, and he's hoping that the donor tendon that's in there right now is going to help me and help my tissue. Kind of, there's collagen that needs to do a whole lace thing and tissue overturn that needs to happen, and he's hoping that that donor tissue really helps in my healing. So I'm trying to keep that athlete mentality of like, okay, let's go, let's do this, but then in the same breath, you know, also you just need to sit down for a little bit, Sarah. And I'm trying to keep track of both and not overdo it.
I think like sports personalities have difficulty to kind of switch off from that, don't they?
Yeah,
like,
it is
obviously
hard.
I'm not an athlete myself, but I think like when you hear about all these football injuries and the basketball injuries, you think like there'll be it's that one just to be like normal routines and things.
Yeah.
So obviously you didn't have that much time with the squad, but I'm sure you had enough to answer some of these questions.
Yeah.
So what was kind of pre-season like with the team? You said you were feeling good and kind of confident on your knee, but what was it like with that group, the team that Chris has assembled?
Yeah, no, we started off really well. I think it was a different preseason. My normal preseasons with Chris would consist of going to the beach and running stairs at least twice a week, and, you know, having lifting sessions regularly. So it was weird to only have 2 sessions a week. But the team clicked, I mean, instantly. Maddie got off the plane and showed up to practice. And, you know, she was a personality to start. So I think we all just were very similar wavelengths in terms of personalities. So I think I mean, just off the strength of people, we all got along very quickly. Monty and Lisa, I only got one practice with before just their confusion happened. So we were without them for most of preseason. So that was different, and especially adjusting. You can tell in the way we play right now, we're still adjusting to having a true big. But preseason practices were great. We were getting to go up and down. Chris got most of our information explained pretty quickly, and it was a lot of us doing our due diligence and focusing on stuff outside of practice so that when we got to practice, we were prepared to do the things we needed to do.
So I thought you were going to say it's different pre-season because Chris normally takes you to Nando's and things like that. But
yeah.
Have you been able to watch the game so far then?
Yeah, no, we've had live streams. So I got to watch these games this past weekend. Obviously not the result we would have hoped for, but I think it's frustrating, especially knowing the squad that we have. Like, I think full strength with everyone healthy, we really are a force to be reckoned with, you know, and having Marina, who, I mean, she showed in that first Nottingham game, she's a 20-plus points player and she's a real impact player, and to have that taken away immediately, and then just have injuries. I mean, in a normal season, the injuries and stuff that we're dealing with are already a lot, and then a global pandemic on top of that, and restrictions and less gym time. Like, it's just a lot. And I know that, you know, just me getting injured and Marina getting injured, that although it takes its toll on me and it sucks for me, it takes a toll on everybody. So I think just how we're dealing with that, we have great support with Tom, being able to talk to players regularly, and we check in regularly about how we're doing. But I think, you know, it's frustrating to watch because, I mean, we only put up 47 points against Leicester, or Seven Oaks, this past weekend. So I know we're better than 47 points. You know, that's what's just frustrating, because this team, you know, we get in practice and we get in front of Chris and it's like, we know we're better than that, but there's just some cohesion things and some rhythm things that we're just still working through the cracks or the wrinkles with. So it'll come with time.
As you say, the injuries and the different kind of setup every week, isn't it, at the minute?
Yeah, it is.
They're getting kind of used to each other's games anyway as a new team and things like that. As you say, I think there's undeniable talent in the squad. So I think it's looking good for the rest of the season, I would say.
Yeah, when that rhythm comes, I know Georgia was definitely a welcomed addition. She was ready to go coming off the plane as well, so that was appreciated. And I think once Abby's back healthy and we've got Ruth back to full speed, like having all of those little pieces coming back, you know, I think, but watching our young players step up, Orioma's she's had an amazing last couple games. She's really had an impact, and seeing her step up the way she has, I think, is the most you can hope from your young players. So seeing those 6th, 7th man rotation guys step up is really important, and I think they've done that. So we'll see how it goes.
How would you say Sunday's game? Do you know much about the London squad or any of the London players?
Yeah, you know, I don't, to be completely honest. Chris hasn't sent a scout through yet for me to even look at yet. So get on that, Chris, if you're watching. But, you know, I think a lot of it is just us focusing on us right now. We put in that new 4-man offense that we're working through and getting our rhythm together. And a lot of that's just focusing on us, and focusing on how to get – I don't think Lisa got enough touches in good spots that she could have. So I think once we get into a good rhythm of understanding where Lisa wants the ball, how to get her the ball effectively, she'll have a bigger impact. And Monte's obviously coming off some shin splints, so she's got to come off an injury. And when she's back to full speed, you know, this team with all the pieces together, we don't have a lot to worry about. It's just that we're not really at full strength, and it shows. Yeah,
I think looking at the Leicester game in the cup competition, I think we were ahead after 3 quarters.
Yep.
And then the 4th quarter we'll probably not say much about, but it was it showed kind of that it was competing with probably the best team in the league at that point.
Yeah.
I think just the lack of bodies and
yeah.
things.
Well, it's a big expectation to ask, you know, Ali to play effectively for 38 minutes and Maddie to play, you know, like it's a lot of minutes, and playing against a team that's likely going to be at the top of the table, hopefully with us. is a lot. So, you know, asking us to do that and stay healthy and trying to not overdo it, I think is a lot. But, you know, everyone's, and as well, that Rachel was out in that Seven Oaks games. She got hit right in the beginning.
It was the game before that.
Was it? Oh, yeah. But that game made a difference too with Rachel. It all blends. It's hard when you're not in the mix of it. But yeah, I know players like that are probably, you know, once things are back full steam and everyone's full, it's going to look a lot better.
There's Abby saying she misses you.
Oh, I missed them too. I know. I just messaged in the group chat about that.
So I've got some teammate questions for you.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so who would you say the best player on the team was? Just to offend all the other teammates.
God, the best player on the team right now. Right now, currently, I would say our best players, probably impact-wise, is Allie. She's definitely showed that she has kind of an all-around game at the moment. So, present moment in time, currently, I would say our best player on the team is Allie.
Good answer, good answer. Who's the best, like, all out-and-out shooter?
Oh, Maddie. 10 out of 10. Maddie, you can be in her face, yelling at her. She will pull that trigger right in front of you. So...
There was a stat that came around the other day about like Newcastle's kind of history and the kind of records that could be broken, like rebounds. And one of them is made threes in a season, and I think it was 40 or something. I think Maddie's already on 12 or 13.
Yeah.
Or like that. So I think that was the score this season. Who is the funniest teammate?
Yeah, this one I'd have to say Ruth on. She is just downright hilarious. That or the silent assassin is Molly. Not Molly Taylor, but little Molly. Okay. She is hilarious. She does not say too much often, but when she does, it is like belly laughs funny. So probably Ruth, though, because Ruth is just loud and proud of her funniness at all times. So
a lot of people mention Ruth when that question's answered. I've seen a few different podcasts and things they've mentioned Ruth's name.
Yeah, she is. She's quite the character for sure.
Next one, worst music taste.
Oh, probably Chris. To be honest.
So what kind of music does he listen to?
Chris is a mix of everything, but he'll all of a sudden you're back and like, you know, way back throwback hip hop that you're just like, Chris, this is it, and it's every time, you know, that's okay once in a while, but we haven't really honestly had that much opportunity to have like music, you know, we're always in like, if we're all together, it's because we're on game day, so game day music is pretty specific. So to be honest, I haven't probably had too much of an opportunity to really gauge everybody's music taste, but I'm gonna just call Chris out on that one.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough. You've got a shot to win the game. Who are you passing to?
I've got a shot to win the game. Yeah, I'm gonna have to say Allie on that one though, because Allie really is battle tested.
And I've got some quickfire questions for you now.
Okay.
Just like either or choices questions.
Okay.
Starbucks or Costa?
Starbucks.
McDonald's or KFC?
KFC for sure.
Tea or coffee?
Coffee.
You sounded pretty sure about that one.
Yeah.
Books or movies?
Movies.
Pepsi or Coke?
Coke.
Favorite Netflix series?
Oh. Probably Schitt's Creek. I don't know if that's on the UK Netflix, but it's hilarious.
I think it is. I haven't seen it, but I think it is.
Oh, 10 out of 10 would recommend.
Have you got a favorite Disney film?
Ooh, it's probably Snow White. I'm a big animal lover, so yeah. I remember having that on VHS at my grandma's house, so I used to watch it a lot.
I gave my daughter's 7. I give her a question every time I do one of these talks. So she'd like to know kind of why people play in the certain squad numbers. So, number 2, is that right?
Yeah, I am number 2.
Why number 2?
I have played in number 2 all of high school, so I got that number my freshman year. I wasn't able to keep it through kind of those first few years at Northumbria. I think I was in 13 for a period of time. So I did end up getting it on the Buck squad, getting it back. But as far as the WBBL stuff, I hadn't had an opportunity to play in it. So this, I think, is my first season actually having my name on a number 2 jersey. But yeah, I've always just played in it. My senior year of high school, there was 3 seniors on the team, and we were 1, 2, 3. So I've just always been in that number. No real specific rhyme or reason to it, though. It's just kind of always been number 2.
Do you know, I've asked that question a lot when I've been doing this, and I always thought that players would have such a specific reason, like a really good story to go. I don't think any of them have. I think it's just, that's what it's always been.
Yeah, some definitely do. I know I've heard a handful of good stories about them, but no, mine is one of the nope. I just have always played in it, so.
So, how do you see the rest of the season going for New Bethlehem? What do you think the kind of ambitions should be?
We set a goal at the beginning of the season to be top of the table, and I don't think that goal is still unreachable. I think that there's still a lot of time, and the more games we play, the more that rhythm's going to improve. Getting Lisa more involved, being able to take the strain off those players who are having to play so many minutes right now with more bodies, Abby coming back, Georgia really getting in the mix of things, all of those things are going to make a huge difference. So I think that once those things are improved, we really are a competitive team. And I think just not letting our confidence get knocked because things aren't going our way right now, they're going to turn in our favor. So I think we still have a realistic goal to be winning. And I think that everyone's full speed ahead and looking at that. So I think that should be our goals. And we are competitive. I know Chris knows we're competitive. So.
Right. I really, really appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you.
All the best with the recovery.
Thanks. Yeah, no, and thank you for your support. We really do appreciate you as well.
Time. And we'll get you back on few months down the line and see how the season
Yeah, no, I'll be happy to come back. I'm gonna watch the men's game now.
Yes, fingers crossed. It's quarterfinal. See, right. Thank you very much then.
Yep.
Right. See you later.
All right, have a good night. Bye.